What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans? Sonoy Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show. Today, joined by JD, and we're going to talk about this upcoming game. I mean, we're finally able to say that again. We have a game in 1 week as North Texas fans, and we get to watch UNT take on the UTEP Miners in week 0. And it's a tremendously important game to start the season off. I mean, it's an in-conference game, and a lot on the line. I mean, it's a must win in a lot of ways. But anyway, JD, before we jump into things real quick, I mean, how are you doing? How excited are you that football season is finally officially back?
Good, good. I mean, it seemed like this year came a little faster. I mean, I know it's probably because we've got a week 0 game, conference game. I mean, but to me, like we were talking pre-tape, it seems like the countdown takes a lot longer. But this year, it's here, and I mean, we're 6 days away from kickoff. It's came upon us quick.
It sure did. And I need to clear something up. So this person messaged me on Twitter, and I've said it a few times on this show, and I've tweeted it, whatever, referring to Austin Ani, who we'll get into in a second, who's been named the starter officially once again. And I've been saying he's the minor slayer because he's 2-0 with his starts against UTEP in this past 2 years. And now we've also talked about how old Austin Ani is, and he gets older by the video. I think by now he's probably 35. But anyway, so this guy said, you probably shouldn't. I mean, I won't go into the details of it, but anyway, just want to clarify. Minor, UTEP minor is in, I think they're mining for gold. Not a minor is as in age of consent. So yeah, Austin Ani is not when I'm saying he's a minor slayer, that's the context that I'm using it in, the UTEP minors. But anyway, I thought it was kind of funny that whatever, but kind of moving forward. So I try not to show it too much when I do these things, but I'm pretty emotional when it comes to predicting North Texas's future football success or non-success. And I like to mentally prepare myself for the worst. And then if I could be pleasantly surprised, then that's always welcome. So being that that's how I am, that's the case, it's hard to talk myself into believing that North Texas is going to come out with this win. I've just been hurt so many times and got my hopes up, and then we've had to dig our way out of some crazy whatever to become bowl eligible, whatever, right? However, talking with Harry on one of the podcasts we did not too long ago, I mean, he just made a great point. It was emotionless. It was just facts. It was just, if you look at the last 3 to 4 years recruiting cycles, we have consistently recruited significantly better than UTEP. I mean, we've been at the top of the conference, a lot of the times. So, I mean, we kind of have them outgunned from a player's talent standpoint, right? Just based on the ratings and whatnot, not to mention the last 2 games we played against them. They've all been close, but Austin Ani is 2-0, and he's been named the starter. So this is his last year, apparently. He's going to try to go off with a hat trick, 3-0 against the Miners, and, maybe call it a day, maybe not. We'll see. What freaks me out is the fact that it is in UTEP. Apparently, they're really close to being sold out. I think they're about 10 to 13,000 shy of it being a complete sellout, and they hold 50,000 as opposed to Apogee holding 30. So, I mean, it's going to be a big crowd. They're, coming off a really successful season for UTEP's, terms, and there's a lot of energy, and, props to them for, trying to capitalize on that. Anyway, kind of breaking down just slightly a little bit into the game. So, first game that we are 2 years ago when Austin Ani got his first start against UTEP. I mean, they won. UNT beat them. I mean, it was a lot to do with Jalen Darden, if not all to do with it. I can't remember how many yards he had. I think he had like some astronomical number, like 300 receiving yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns or whatever. I mean, it was off the charts. This past year, Austin Ani kind of has an Ani game, statistically speaking. He goes 15 for 33, 240 and a touchdown. And kind of looking at the glass half full, DeAndre Torrey only went 18 carries for 61. So it's not like anybody really took over that game. It's just, I mean, it was a close game, 20-17, but North Texas just outperformed them without the flashiness of a Jalen Darden. So my concern with UTEP, though, I would say I have 2. One being Gavin Hardison, their quarterback. He's consistently been pretty good. I don't know what his completion percentage has been. I don't have that on me, but I think he's been in the 60s, which is kind of where, that's a pretty decent completion percentage, where I think Austinani's, I don't know if you happen to know, but I think his has been lower 50s, maybe 54. Something like that. But
Yeah.
that's a pretty big difference. 62 to 54. I mean, that's pretty significant. And anyway, Gavin Hardison's pretty good. So last game, however, whenever they played UNT, he went 15 for 29, 273, touchdown and interception. So I'd rather take Ani's stats just from, UTEP against UNT the last time they met. The other part that scares me is Praise Amahule. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He's a defensive end. Underdog Dynasty ranked him as the number one player in the conference. He's, more than likely going to get drafted this year, barring anything crazy. If he just produces at a similar level that he's been producing up to this point, he has the ability to really mess up a game plan. If he's getting back there, he's not, if they can't manage to keep him out of the backfield and Austinani doesn't have time to pass, I mean, that can really, make things pretty difficult to scheme around. The good thing is last year he had 0 sacks against UNT, so hopefully they can do it again. Again, they're returning most of that offensive line aside from Brammer. So if they can keep Praise Amahule at bay, don't let the crowd get to them, and just play their game, whether that's chipping away, running the ball, and just having Ani making plays with his arm when he has to. I think we have a pretty good shot of coming away with the win. Another thing that they don't have is Cowing. I think it's Jake Cowing, their leading receiver. Last season, when he played UNT, he had 5 receptions for 174 yards. So you take that away because he transferred to Arizona. So that helps. So there's a lot of reasons unemotionally to feel optimistic. But at the same time, if you follow North Texas closely, I mean, it just, I don't know. It's hard to let yourself feel good until you really see things happen. But anyway, JD, so that's about it. All I have. What are your thoughts on this coming up game in week 0?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it first, from the talent perspective, I think North Texas, this is, I mean, arguably, if you go down position by position, this could be arguably the most talented roster Seth's ever put on the field in his time here. I mean, this is from, each position group, it's very talented. So I think as far as a talent perspective, I think there are a big talent gap between North Texas and UTEP. The part that scares me is one of the staples of the Seth Luttrell tenure is falling short in big games, especially the games when there's a lot of eyes on you. So with this being the first conference game, week 0, prime time, sold out crowd, I mean, those are all things that, scare me. Is maybe us not coming out with as much excitement, coming out flat. Those are kind of, like I said, staples of Seth Luttrell teams in big games. We kind of seen it in the bowl game last year. We've seen it in, conference championship games. That scares me. Also, like we were talking beforehand, mentally, I felt like Seth had lost a couple times to UTEP, but really he's 5-1 against them. He lost the first game. That was the Aaron Jones throttling in El Paso. But since then, they've won 5 straight. Now, 3 of the 5 wins have came by 3 points or less. There was 2 blowouts along the way, but UTEP always plays this close. Like I said, we've got 5 wins in a row, so you could say that in the rivalry, UTEP's due for a win. So all those things playing against us, those are all things that make me nervous. As far as talent, neutral side, I think, North Texas definitely has advantage. I said, but there's a lot of stuff playing against North Texas here going into week 0.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And, guys, we want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below if you have an opinion of the matter of what do you think, how this game is going to go, whether it's UNT or UTEP getting the win, and give a score prediction if you have one. Real quick before you get out of here, JD, I want to ask you, are you a fan of this week 0 high stakes game, or would you rather it be a traditional week 1, maybe week 0 FCS opponent?
Yeah, I mean, it's you can kind of tell or I guess you'll find out which team was able to prepare the best during, the fall. I mean, it's you kind of can't. most of the time when you play an FCS opponent, you get to kind of work through the depth chart. You get some, wrinkles out. You get some cobwebs. I mean, you're getting to play an actual real opponent. With going to a conference game, arguably could be a rival, in-state opponent, in-state conference opponent. There's no time to work out any kinks. I mean, you're going to have to hit the ground running. So I guess it could put you behind the eight ball. I don't know but I mean, I guess it's week 0 for both teams, but I would say that probably the away team traveling probably is getting a little disadvantage, especially if we're going into an atmosphere where they've got 40,000 plus fans. It's going to be a pretty intimidating atmosphere and experience. Like I said, I would much rather see us, start week 1 or week 0 with a FCS opponent, kind of get a warm up game, kind of figure out what we got. But, it's you got to play who's on the schedule. So it's like I said, the only thing we got going is it's UTEP's first game as well.
Yeah, exactly. And when we played them last year, we were 4-6, and I think they were 6-4. So, we stopped them then. So hopefully we can do it again. And just imagine how good it would feel, after the game if UNT wins. How much more thankful we would be, like, oh wow, we got a quality win under our belt. So anyway, we'll see what happens. It'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully, we don't lose our heads as fans. But anyway, JD, thanks as always for coming on, and go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.